Good evening, boys and girls. Are you ready for bed? Are you ready for another Lights Out bedtime story? Well, tonight's story comes at a request from a very dear friend of mine called Keith. And this story is called Denis and Joshua and the Mystery of the Golden Sword. Once upon a time, there were two boys called Denis and Joshua. And unbeknownst to each other, for several days, night after night, they had both been having the same dream about a huge turtle and a golden sword. They dreamt about other stuff as well, obviously, being boys, like Legos and Smurf guns and food and playing and phonics and all the things that you get up to as a young boy. But one thing that was common every night, for as long as they could remember, was a big turtle and a shimmering golden sword. And every day when they woke up, that's the only thing they could remember. The golden sword and the big turtle. And now they never used to talk about their dreams much until one day, as they were getting on the bus to have a tour around Hanoi, they went past the lake, and their dad said, "Have you heard the story about the turtle in the lake?" Joshua and Denis looked at each other, and they knew instantly. Not really, Dad," said Denis. "Can you tell us about it?" And so his dad told him the story about the Emperor of Vietnam, the founder of a dynasty, who had the sword made and named Heaven's Will and given to him by the golden turtle god. Now, one day, not long after the war with the Chinese, and they had accepted that Vietnam was going to be an independent country of its own, the emperor was out on a boat on the lake, and suddenly the golden turtle surfaced and asked for the sword to be given back. Of course, golden turtle gods are given what they asked for, and so the emperor kindly gave the sword back. And in a flash and a splash, the turtle and the sword disappeared into the depths of the lake. And the emperor, quite rightly, got off his boat and named the lake Hoang Kiem Lake, which actually means the lake of the returned sword. Wow, that's a cool story. And they started their tour on the double-decker bus all around the city of Hanoi. However, something didn't feel right, and every time they passed the street that they could see onto the lake, they had a kind of a funny feeling that something was wrong. And the bus made its way up and down and round, winding through the streets, past all the shops and the vendors selling their wares. They came closer and closer and closer to the lake where they had gotten on. As they were coming round the corner, getting onto the street, suddenly the earth started to shake and the bus wobbled side to side, and the bus came to a shuddering halt. There was silence for a second, and then a scream, an ear-shattering scream that came from the northern shore of the lake, where Jade Island sat, on which there was a temple of the Jade Mountain. There had been a robbery, and the preserved turtle god that sat in crystal glass cage had disappeared. There was panic among the people, and people were running around wondering where the turtle had gone. Just then, the bus conductor ordered everybody to be off the bus because they were not going to move any inch further. Daddy didn't mind because they were only a meter away from the stop anyway, and so Denis and Joshua and Dad got off the bus and walked along the edge of the lake. By the time they were walking round towards the Jade Island, the streets, seemingly, were empty, and there was an eerie silence fluttering around the corner. The three of them stopped, turned around and looked at the water, which started to bubble and steam, and up out of the haze came a golden turtle. It looked very angry, and it screamed at the three, "Where's my sword? Give it back now." Well, Denis looked at his daddy and did not know what to do. The turtle looked very angry and started to fly towards them. They ran down the side street and ducked as the turtle dived over the head. No, you got it wrong, Turtle. We didn't touch the sword. We just got off the bus. We were going on a tour of the city. Find it now. And in a flash, the turtle disappeared into a puff of golden smoke, which then made a kind of cool tornado shape and went back into the water. And in a blink, the people were back on the streets. The cars were racing around with the bikes, and it seemed like nothing had ever happened. And Joshua looked at Denis, but there was no Dad. "Where's Dad?" said Denis. "I don't know. He was just here." "Did you see the turtle diving over our heads?" Yeah. "Asking for the sword back. Have you got it in your bag?" "Don't be silly. I don't steal things. You know it's wrong to steal. Anyway, why would I have a big golden sword in my backpack? What's in your bag? Show me." "Just my sandwiches." And the two of them scratched their heads for a minute and tried to figure out whether it was a dream or not. Joshua pinched Denis, and Denis pinched Joshua, and they tickled each other for a bit, but they didn't wake up. They were still on the edge of Juan Kim Lake, in the middle of the bustling crowd of people who seemingly didn't know what was going on. Well, first of all, the two of them were kind of scared that they weren't with their parents, but they always remembered what their father and mother had been telling them about what to do if they got lost, and so they knew they could work it out together. After all, it's better to be in a team than by yourself. So they started to walk back around the lake to where they had just gotten off the bus. But the bus wasn't there, and when they looked in their pockets for the ticket, they couldn't find one. This is getting stranger and stranger, thought Denis. We have no proof of being on the bus, and we don't know if we really saw the turtle or not. And anyway, where is Dad gone? So they sat down to work out exactly what they were going to do. They had enough water to last them a while, and they had some money, and they had a phone, but the battery was gone. "Oh, that's so typical," said Denis. "Just when you need a phone. What should we do?" "Okay, well, remember what we were told?" "Yeah, okay, stay calm. work it out, be a team. And so they decided that they would walk to the ice cream shop, buy an ice cream because it was still hot, and then ask the lady if they could use her phone to call Dad. Being very bright, Joshua had remembered his dad's cell phone number off by heart, and Denis, being just as bright, had remembered his mom and dad's both telephone numbers off by heart. And so, after eating the ice cream, they asked the lady at the shop, and she lent them her phone. Anyway, there was no answer because I think Denis's daddy was quite busy doing a phonics lesson online. He didn't know, but he's one of the best phonics teachers in the whole wide world. Quite famous, in fact. And so he was quite busy that day. And so they couldn't get through. They tried Mom. No answer. Right, plan B, they thought. And just as they were about to leave the shop, through the window of the ice cream shop, they saw the hovering big body of the golden turtle looking straight at them. The turtle looked at his watch and said, "You haven't got much time, have you, boys? You're gonna be in trouble if you don't find my sword." "Oh, what have we told you, Turtle? We haven't touched your sword. Look at our bags. We've just got a phone with no battery, a few notes, and a razor, and that's about it." "Well, you've got to find my sword, or else." "Oh dear, now look what we're going to have to do," said Denis. And they walked out the ice cream shop, scratching their head again, and they were trying to think about what to do. Well, Denis remembered the story that Dad had told him about Jade Island and the crystal cage where the old turtle was kept, and so they walked around, crossed the bridge, and went into the temple. It was empty and quiet, and the crystal box, or the glass box, where the old turtle had been kept, was empty. Maybe the sword was in the box with the turtle, thought Denis. And so Joshua had to look around. And just as they were about to leave, having not found a single thing, Joshua turned around and caught a glimpse of something shiny underneath the red velvet cover that covered the table where the glass cage was on, the glass box. They ran and lifted up the velvet curtain to find a shimmering golden sword. Well, would you look at that? The very place where that golden turtle's body was being kept, there was a sword underneath. Wow, that's quite funny, and it makes the turtle look a bit silly. But anyway, we've got the sword. Let's go and give it back. Well, who's going to carry that big sword across the bridge into a crowd of people? And where's this turtle anyways? Come on, just put it in your bag. And Denis put it in his bag and carried the big, heavy, golden sword over the bridge and up to the top end of the lake. They stood there, looking out down the lake, and Denis opened his bag and picked out the sword and held it up, and as the sun rays glistened and sparkled and bounced off the golden sword, they reflected into the surface of the water, and out came the big golden turtle. Joshua looked around, and it was as if the thousands and thousands of people in the street had no idea what was going on, as if they could not see this huge turtle floating above them. "I see you have my sword, young man. How did you get it?" "Well," said Denis, "you wouldn't believe it, but it was actually under the table where the turtle used to be in that glass box." "Really?" said the turtle. Yeah, if you'd just looked under the velvet cover, you'd have seen it." Well, the turtle was quite embarrassed, and it changed ever so slightly into a kind of a rosy golden bronzy colour around its face. It was embarrassed, as if turtle gods do that. They do. And so they both held the sword and threw it up into the air, and it was caught on the back by the huge golden turtle god, who said, "Thank you, boys, for finding my sword." The boys looked at each other and said, "Well, it's just quite easy, really, and a bit of teamwork, and listening to what our parents said and being a bit sensible and not getting too hasty or stressed." Yeah, that sounds very good," said the turtle, "very respectable." And with that, the turtle plunged back into the depths of the Hwankim Lake, and the two boys looked at each other in disbelief. And then Joshua said, "Denis, your bag looks quite heavy. What's in there?" And Denis said, "Look at your bag. It's as big as you are." And suddenly they realized that their bags were full of gold coins. When they opened the bags a bit more, they could see that it was full, and so they took a gold coin each and paid the bus driver to take them back home on the private double-decker bus, and so they could see all of Hanoi from Hwankim Lake back to their house on the private double-decker bus tour. It was quite nice, and the bus driver agreed to do it for the whole weekend, and so Joshua and Denis's families and all their friends took the bus all around Hanoi in Vietnam for 2 full days, with picnics and drinks and music and stories of golden ghostly turtle gods and golden swords and dreams that had just transpired to be true. The end.